Thing that happened at Tessa. Honorable Obiamwa and my good self were there as representatives from the party's headquarters. On that day, that was a Thursday, last week Thursday, we had 4 constituencies: Fantiakwa North, Akotia, Suhum, and Nsawam Adwejiri. The first collation to be completed for the day was Fantiakwa North. When we got that done, we came to Akotia, which we also successfully completed, and it was declared. Then it was left with Nsawam Adwejiri and Suhum. Both were being done. Now, for Suhum, there was another go-slow. The NDC at every stage tried to disrupt. Eventually, they rejected six polling station results, and we accepted that if they've rejected, they don't want it to be part, that is fine, because it was still giving us a win of over 1,500. Then they tried to use the independent candidate agent to frustrate the process. In fact, eventually, the NDC leaders who came there, led by the famous Afenyo Markin, told me and Honorable Obiamwa that they want to negotiate for us to allow the declaration of Suhum, and that their foot soldiers were amassing outside, and that if all 4 constituencies are declared for us, they will kill them. Very sad. Eventually, when we said no, we have to continue with the process, and we completed the Suhum process where Suhum was declared, they tried another go-slow on Nsawam Adwejiri. Each one of them that came said, "Oh, you said, I'm not on praying with the farmer." Where does this happen? Eventually, when the EC official decided to continue the process, the NDC, led by Afenyo Markin, came into the collation center and said that, okay, their computer was not working, so we should give them 2 hours to charge their battery. As at 1 a.m., when they had gotten 3 hours to charge the so-called battery of the laptop, they said they were tired. Meanwhile, their candidate walked in. The candidate for Nsawam Adwejiri walked in. And we said, okay, if you are tired, the candidate himself was there. Meanwhile, Honorable Anodonpre had been there the whole day. What next? The EC official, after another 1 hour of unnecessary disruption, he said he was tired, he was feeling sleepy, and that we should do it at 6 a.m. the following day, Friday. We all slept there. Well, by the way, I left around 4 a.m. to shower, and I came back around 7 o'clock. Around this time, the General Secretary was also there, but the candidate, Honorable Anodonpre, and his agent slept there. At 6:30 thereabout, collation resumed. Around 8 o'clock, they started the agenda again. We will not allow. Then around 8:30, their counsel came in, Honorable Mr. Edudi Tamaku, claiming that he had in his possession an injunction order from the court, only to find out later that they will use the delay tactics to file an application. They had filed a writ in court, that is the candidate for NDC had filed a writ in court with an injunction application, which they were seeking to serve the Honorable Anodonpre and EC. So clearly, these are not Democrats. Whereas Dr. Bawumia conceded defeat even before EC's official announcement, they were not ready to accept defeat in these constituencies that day. They were not ready to concede defeat where they knew clearly, because their posture was that they won't allow the process to continue. And then, in fact, on Friday itself, after they have successfully gotten the Anodonpre's constituency collation disrupted, then they came to the others. The police had arranged collation tables for the other constituencies. In fact, the Techiman South has started. They were collating. Ahafo North Southwest, we had their table. We had Obuasi East. and all the Ashanti region seats were supposed to be collated, and then the following day, Saturday, was for Greater Accra. They deliberately disrupted and then used social media to threaten the police, whereupon the police felt that they could not provide security, in spite of EC's insistence to continue the work. In fact, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that actually instructed the EC to stop the collation process. I repeat, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that instructed EC to stop the process of collating the result because it was not sure of its ability to provide security. And you recall that was when the deputy communication officer, I don't want to mispronounce his name, had issued threat at commanding 5,000 people to meet at the police training school. It's all on social media. So our appeal to the international community, civil society organizations, the media, and all lovers of democracy is to show interest in these outstanding constituencies and give the EC every moral support to proceed to make these declarations. Again, we are encouraging the Electoral Commission that pursuant to their own statement they issued and their press conference on the evening of Friday, to proceed to collect and declare these results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome to the New Patriotic Party headquarters. If you all recall, last week, Wednesday, 11th December, we invited you to our headquarters to do a press conference and also to brief you and bring you up to speed of where we were as a party, the number of constituencies that we had won, and outstanding constituencies that we had issues, particularly the attitude of the opposition party, the NDC, obstructing coalition processes in several constituencies. Today, we have met you again to once again bring you up to speed of where we are after our press conference on Wednesday. But before we proceed to give you details of today's press conference, I also want us to acknowledge the presence of some key party stalwarts who are with us here this morning. On my extreme left is Evans Nmakom, who is the Director of Research and Election for our party. Next is Mr. Gary Nmakom, Director of Legal Affairs. We also have Chairman Macmenu, who was the chairperson for our electoral affairs for campaign 2024. We have the majority leader, Honorable Afenyo Markin, sitting on my right. We also have Honorable Obi Amwa, who is also part of the electoral affairs committee. Then the regional chairman of Greater Accra, Chairman Divine, is also here. Our Director of Finance and Administration, William Yamwa. The third Vice National Chairman, Alhaji Masawood, is also here. The youth organizer, Salam Mustafa, is also here with us. And we also have our parliamentary candidates, some of our parliamentary candidates, affected constituencies that will be sharing more details in our press conference. We have Honorable Ekuye Friye, our parliamentary candidate for Ablekuma North, here with us also. Charles Forson, our parliamentary candidate for Tema Central, is also here. Nana Jima Prempe, our parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso North. Elvis Osei Mensah Dapa, our parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso Southwest. And Abanga Yakubu, our parliamentary candidate for Aowi. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Patriotic Party, per our tradition, has always believed in expressing our reservations and concerns through due process. And anyone who knows our history will agree with me that whenever we have issues, whenever we feel something are not going right, we don't resort to violence. We always make our case known to the Ghanaian public so that at least they will hear our side and also be informed of what really happened. Like I indicated to you last week Wednesday when we did the press conference about how the NDC were creating chaos in various coalition centers. Afterwards, the Electoral Commission move the collation centers for some constituencies to the police training school at Tesano. And true to that, we were able to resolve issues in 3 constituencies, namely Suhum, Akwetia, and Fantia Panof. But the process also has come to a stalemate or standstill, because again, typical of the NDC, they didn't want the process to go on. So today, this press conference will be led by the Electoral and Legal Affairs Committee of the New Patriotic Party to give accurate and more detailed account, what we refer to further and better particulars of the outstanding constituency, so that at least the whole of Ghana, through your medium, will get to appreciate the issues at stake, and also to let you know that as a political party, our next line of action. And I can assure you, all the seats that are remaining, that we in the New Patriotic Party strongly believe, based on our coalition that we won, that seat, whether today, tomorrow, next week, 1 month, what is due us will be given to the New Patriotic Party through fair means. So at this juncture, I will invite Mr. McMenu to brief us and do the press conference on behalf of the New Patriotic Party. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. The leadership of the New Patriotic Party is pleased to welcome you to the party's National Secretariat for the crucial engagement and commend you for honoring our invitation at such a short notice. The essence of today's media engagement is to furnish you with the details of unfolding developments at the various collation centers for the outstanding constituencies and the state of the party's official position on all such matters. The NPP has with great concern taken notice of the NDC's crude strategy of sending their party hoodlums to disrupt ongoing collation of parliamentary election results in constituencies that they know they have lost. The modus operandi of these hoodlums, with the consent of the NDC leadership, is to visit the collation centers and undertake the following lawless acts: destroy all pink sheets they could lay their hands on, destroy ballot boxes and other election materials, beat up electoral officers and party representatives who challenge them, threaten the life of any person who disagrees with them, chase out members of the National Election Security Task Force and take charge of the collation process, ensure the collation is aborted when they realize that their candidate has lost, and compel the returning officers to declare NDC parliamentary candidates as winners of the parliamentary elections. These infractions have been recorded during the collation of the parliamentary election results for the following constituencies: 1. Ablekuma North, 2. Okankwe Central, 3. Tema Central, 4. Domiko Abenya, 5. Ahafuano North, 6. Obuasi East, 7. Ahafuano Southwest, 8. Apatia, 9. Suhum, 10. Fantiapa North, 11. Isawam Adwajiri, and lastly but not the least, Techima South and Aowe. The question many will ask is, why will anybody who claims to have won an election be interested in destroying the most crucial evidence, in this case, pink sheets and ballot papers, that will confirm his victory? The person who has claimed to have genuinely won an election should rather be interested in protecting the pieces of evidence that will prove that he has indeed won. It is thus not in doubt that the only reasonable conclusion that can be drawn from the lawless conduct of the NDC leadership and their party tax is that they know they have lost the parliamentary elections in these constituencies and are therefore desperately seeking to destroy all the pieces of evidence in order to make it impossible for the victor to prove his victory. We shall at this juncture proceed to demonstrate that the NPP parliamentary candidates in the above mentioned constituencies indeed won the parliamentary elections. Details of infractions in each constituency. 1. Ablekuma North constituency. The NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Nana Akuria Owusu Afiye, has won the parliamentary seat with 414 votes difference. According to data collated from all the 281 polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency, Honorable Akuria Afiye of the NPP obtained a total of 34,613 votes to beat her contender, the Reverend Obin of the NDC, who obtained 34,199 votes. We have scanned all the 281 pink sheets issued to us by the presiding officers of the various polling stations before transporting them to the EC Collation Center. Despite knowing that they have lost the parliamentary elections in Ablekuma North, per the records on the pink sheet, the NDC and their parliamentary candidate are refusing to accept the reality and to respect the will of the people of Ablekuma North, as expressed at the polls. They are still desperately seeking to mislead their supporters and the general public into believing that they won the election. Further to this, the NDC tried every possible means to destroy pink sheets, which are the primary records of the elections. It will be recalled that on Sunday, 8 December 2024, NDC tax stormed Ablekuma North Constituency Collation Center, overpowered the police, and ran amok, attempting to destroy every electoral material on site. In view of the vandalism that occurred at the collation center by the NDC hoodlums, the EC was unable to continue with the collation exercise at the constituency collation center. Consequently, the EC invited the parties to the EC Regional Collation Center at Ridge on Monday, 9th December 2024 to complete the collation. A total of 214 polling station results were collated after verification and authentication by all the parties, leaving 67 pink sheets, which were to be collated on Tuesday, 10th December 2024. However, when the parties got to the Regional Collation Center on Tuesday, the NDC representatives, in shocking turn of events, said they wouldn't allow the EC to collate the remaining 67 polling station results, insisting that they could not find their pink sheets. They then ordered the constituency returning officer, Mr. Vincent Tobin, to declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. The returning officer told them that he had not finished with the collation, so he had no means of ascertaining who won the election and by what margin. By what margin has she won? The returning officer pleaded with them to cooperate with him to collect the remaining 67 pink sheets before making any declaration as required by Regulation 43 of CI 127, a position that was strongly supported by the NPP's parliamentary candidate and her agents. The NDC would, however, have none of that, as they insisted that their candidate, Reverend Obin, had won and should be declared as such. This resulted in a misunderstanding, whereupon the NDC reps invited their party thugs, who had mastered at the EC Regional Collation Center, to force their way into the collation center, having overpowered the security and destroyed facilities belonging to the commission, the Electoral Commission. As widely captured in videos that are in circulation, the NDC thugs threatened to beat the returning officer and kill him if he failed to declare their candidate as the winner. Fearing for his life, Mr. Vincent Obing, the returning officer, gave in to their demands, except that because he had not finished with the collation, he could not and did not mention any figure or percentages obtained by the candidate. Can we see the video? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, let me continue. We'll show you that. The returning officer, in response to this is the, okay, this is the video. The returning officer being attacked and frisked to declare. Is there any voice? Thank you. The returning officer, in response to what the NDC hoodlums had ordered him to do, amid the threat of his life, only said, "I declare you as a winner." without even mentioning the name of the candidate nor the number of votes obtained by any of the candidates as required by law. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D could not be filled as required by Regulation 43(1)B of CI 127. Additionally, the returning officer could not issue out the writ for 1B as required by Regulation 43(1)G. I pose this question, that if your hand is raised that you have won an election and you go to the house, what are you going to show to your wife or your husband that you have won an election? There must be a documentary proof. So if your hand is only raised that you have won an election and you go home, what are you going to tell your wife or your husband? Or what are you going to show him or her that you have won an election? The processes are documented in Regulation 43 of the CI. So if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. So that's for Madam Friye and Bawumia North. 2, we move on to Tema Central constituency. Data on the face of the pink sheets from all the 148 polling stations in Tema Central shows clearly that the NPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forster, won the parliamentary elections for the constituency with 55 votes difference. He obtained 18,870 votes to beat the NDC's candidate, GHBRAIN, who polled 18,815. When the NDC realized that they had lost, they sent their party thugs to disrupt the coalition exercise. These thugs overpowered the security and ran amok at the coalition center, injuring innocent people in the process. This compelled the Tema Metro EC Director, Mr. Ofosuhini A. Manasseh, to call for a suspension of the coalition in view of the prevailing chaos and other security concerns. Collation resumed on Monday, 9th December, at the Tema Regional Police Command, which was again disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the collation center in their hundreds and overpowered the police. the tax took charge of the collation process and ordered the EC to declare their parliamentary candidate, GHBRAIN, as the winner of the elections when it was left with 2 pink sheets to complete the collation process. The NDC knew very well that when the results of the 2 remaining polling stations are added, one had been collated for the candidates, the NPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forson, will beat their candidate by 55 votes. The polling station codes of the 2 outstanding stations and votes obtained by the 2 candidates are code C231309B, NPP 170 votes, NDC 103 votes. The second polling station outstanding is C231707, and here NPP got 279 votes and NDC 173. When the returning officer for the constituency resisted their attempt to compel him to declare the NDC candidate as the winner of the election, the NDC brought in a staff of the Electoral Commission from a different constituency, Tema West, to do the declaration for the Tema Central constituency without the inclusion of the 2 remaining pink sheets. Here too, the Form 1B, 1C, and 1D were all not filled by the officer as required by the law. They used an A4 sheet to fill the statutory form. Show them. You have the video of the A4 sheet. All right. So that is what happened at Tema Central. We now move on to Okaikwe Central constituency. The NPP candidate and incumbent MP for Okaikwe Central constituency, Honorable Patrick Bawumia, won the parliamentary elections with a vote margin of 1,446 votes. The NPP candidate, Honorable Patrick Bawumia, obtained 20,229 votes as against NDC's Baba Sadiq, who polled 18,783 votes, with only 3 polling stations remaining. The records show that even when all the votes in the 3 polling stations are added to the NDC's candidate, it will not offset the vote difference. This is important. When all the 3 outstanding polling stations are added on to the NDC candidate, it would not offset the vote difference. At this moment, the collation process was disrupted by the NDC tax, who stormed the collation center and sought to destroy critical electoral materials, including pink sheets, essential for verifying the results. They took control of the collation process and threatened the EC's officials to declare their candidate as winner, resulting in chaotic scenes which led to suspension of the constituency collation. The parties were invited to the EC Regional Collation Center on Monday, 9 December 2024, to complete the collation process. The NDC insisted that they would not accept the continuation of the collation and demanded that the EC should declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. Under visible duress, the returning officer excluded the results from 31 polling stations and declared the results based on only 110 polling stations. This action is inconsistent with the electoral laws as it excludes legitimate votes cast by constituents and fails to reflect the true outcome of the elections in Okaikwe Central. The NDC's disagreement was based on alleged issue with certain polling stations. The attack stormed the electoral EC collation center and coerced the returning officer to declare. And here too, we have video footages to corroborate these incidents of vandalism and physical abuse of the electoral staff. I don't think you can show the footage.
This one is applicable.
All right, so let's go to the 4th one, Domi Kwabenya constituency. We will share these videos with you. During the collation at Domi Kwabenya Constituency Collation Center, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center, destroyed electoral materials on site, bent ballot boxes, thereby truncating the collation process. The returning officer informed parties to leave the collation center on account of the security challenges, which made it impossible to continue with the collation. The returning officer assured the candidates and their agents that she would communicate a new venue for the continuation of the collation. We are however hearing that there was a purported declaration of results under duress, and that too in her absence, contrary to requirements of Regulation 43 of CI 127. Equally, a parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D was not filled as required by Regulation 43 1B 1 and B of CI 127, and the rate of declaration for 1B was also not issued as required by Regulation 43 1 and G. The NPP candidate or his agent has still not been informed of the new venue for the continuation of the collation, contrary to the assurances given by the returning officer during the raid by the NDC tax. Well, we can report that based on our own collation, the NPP parliamentary candidate, Ambassador Michael Kwei Jr., won the parliamentary elections in Domi Kwabenya, and are confident that when EC resumes collation, our position will be vindicated. 5. Ayawaso North constituency in Ashanti region. The NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai-Pepe, won the parliamentary elections with a margin of 121 votes as per data collated from all the 140 polling stations by the party. The NPP's candidate, Nana Ajimai-Pepe, has hard copies of all the 140 pink sheets that put him at 20,353 votes as against NDC's candidate at 20,232. I believe we all have witnessed what we call MP3 in Temahis on that back. So if somebody wins with a difference of 1 he has won. After all, the law says first past the post. During the collation by the EC at the Constituency Collation Center, NDC tax stormed the collation center at Tepa SHS and began destroying and burning electoral materials, particularly pink sheets, computers, and ballot papers, as well as properties of the Tepa SHS, including louver blades, benches, and tables. They also manhandled MPP representatives and DC officials. These violent conducts by the NDC tax, who had overpowered the police, prompted the intervention of the military to save lives and property. The NDC hoodlums did not only attack the collation center, but they also proceeded to launch an attack at the residence of the NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai-Pepe, bent his vehicle and attacked his warehouse, stole his items, and attacked his radio station. There are video footages in wide circulations that captured all these attacks. These issues have since been reported to the Ghana police, and an arrest warrant has been issued. The videos are there, and we will give you copies of it. The question many will ask is, since when has it become an offense to contest a parliamentary elections in this country? Why is the NDC bent on thwarting all our democratic gains? Ghana has made a lot of gains. Instead of consolidating it, they are thwarting it. They are throwing it away. Let's go to the 6th one, Obuasi East. That's also in Ashanti. After collecting the polling station results from all the 115 polling stations, the NPP parliamentary candidate obtained 18,558 votes as against NDC's 18,539. Strangely, the returning officer, the police, and the NPP candidate, at the threat of their life, succumbed to the unlawful demands of the NDC hoodlums, who had besieged the collation center and took charge of the constituency collation process to swap the election results. And we have that. Is that ready to show them? They swapped the results that I have mentioned. And then we announced that, okay, they gave them NPP's candidates to that of the NDC.
That's it. They just cancelled.
They cancelled the first one, which we have the data and reverse. And, I mean, what is this? They swapped the results in favor of the NDC.
And we locked the candidate and asked him to sign to say die. He prefers dying or going to Parliament. So he should sign.
Number 7, I have